What is going on, heroes and villains? It is I, Zach's Not Dead. How are y'all doing today? I hope you're having a fantabulous
Saturday.
Wednesday. Or whenever it is I eventually got done editing this. Maybe I'll put it in post and voice over myself. But today, I want to talk about probably the most hated game mode ever added to a Mortal Kombat game. Invasions. Invasions is the brand new game mode from NetherRealm Studios that was supposed to harmoniously blend the Towers of Time from Mortal Kombat 11 and the Crypt from previous Mortal Kombat titles. Now, it sounds like a really nice concept, but unfortunately, it does not seem like they were given enough time or resources to refine this game mode, leaving players with a lackluster experience that paled in comparison to Mortal Kombat 11's Crypt. Now, before we move into how I would fix it or how I think it could start to be in a course correction, let's take a look at how IGN describes the latest game mode from NetherRealm Studios.
Yes, well, Invasion mode plays out like a board game. You move your character around the board, stopping at each space and fighting special opponents or playing minigames.
Plays out like a board game. I think that's a very important thing to note. But also important to realize that the only part of this that feels like a board game is the fact that you're in a locked-in path and having to move around in a board game sort of pattern. This would be like if we took Monopoly and made most of the places you could land the same, and then doubled the amount of places you could land, but then removed the dice so that your character or pawn could only move one place at a time. That turns a board game into a boring game. I think we have to look objectively and see what makes these board games more fun. Is it the dice roll? Is it the chance that you could skyrocket halfway across? I think it's all of those things, and I think we should start looking at and incorporating some of this stuff into Invasions mode and make it a real board game. In order to do that, we need to address some of the things that are missing in Invasions to make it more like a fun, enjoyable board game experience. So let's take a look at the game board. When playing a board game at home, you have a bird's eye view of the entire game board. But in Invasions, we have like a 2 or 3 kind of view. We can only kind of see what's just around us, making it very difficult to navigate and move around. And then when we look back at all the nodes, you can see about like 80% of the nodes are the same thing, which are basic fights, which I do understand it's a fighting game, but we do need more variety when it comes to these nodes. It is worth noting that more variety has been added since the start of Invasions. If you look at the season now versus the season when it started, we're dealing with way less armored up opponents. We're seeing more chests. We're seeing more of the specialty fights. And I feel like we're still seeing the same amount of Test Your Might. And I feel like Test Your Might was just kind of, it's a neat little variation of it, but it's far too easy in comparison to its predecessors. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to these nodes. I've created 4 nodes. The first is dice roll nodes, where they could create like a dragon dice, and on all different sides of the die could have a different positive outcome for the player, and making it not a fight, making it something different, and making it rewarding all at the same time seems like nothing but a win, and maybe even a great way for players to earn some dragon crystals. Just make it where they only land there one time, you can't keep re-rolling.
Shake, shake, shake. Drop it on the paper.
Next up, we have lore nodes. Lore nodes would offer backstories to characters, locations, or events within this new Liu Kang era. Kind of bothers me. We don't really have any way to delve further into this new era. Let me know battles that General Shao has won, or what it was like for Sindel when she first took over for King Jarrett. Even if you're one of those people who skipped every book in Skyrim and did not care about reading anything in a video game, it still takes place of a fight, and all you have to do is skip reading it, and you won't have to do another fight, and it adds variety. Next up, multiverse tear nodes. It would be like a node that you step on, and then you get pulled into a portal And since we're doing multiverses, let's get unique and weird with it. Let's have, bizarre filters where it looks overly cartoonish, or we've got a noir looking filter, or it's super pixelated, or our fighters have super large heads. If we're going to do this multiverse thing, let's go all out and have a little fun with it every now and again. And once again, add more variety to the nodes throughout Invasions. And the last node that I have here is a hidden pathway node, or shortcuts that allow you to cut across large portions of these mazes. It would be just kind of your access road, your quick route to go from one end to the other without having to go to node to node to node to node. I think having a couple of pathways like this would make the traversal in these invasions modes much more appealing, and maybe include a increased chance to get caught in an ambush if you take one of these hidden pathways. Just an idea. Alright, so let's move on outside the nodes. Let's talk about the stat points that we allocate to our fighters in Invasions. Currently there's 5 categories that we can put our stats into: health, attack, special, defense, and agility. But most players just fill up attacks so they can do super powerful uppercuts and get through invasions as quickly as they can. So here's where I propose that we offer incentives, make mastery bonuses a thing. So if somebody gets one of these categories up to level 100, maybe offer unique and innate abilities that can stack onto any relic or anything else they bring into battle with them. Next up, let's talk about navigation. Without a free cam or a compass or a mini-map, we should really be able to hit pause and see a friggin' map, an area that outlines, the entire invasion's nodes that we're all supposed to be going to and finding. If there are some secret ones, then keep them off of the thing and let us find them that way. But having nothing that shows us where we've gone, where we're going to be, no compass, no percentage, no how many nodes there are left, no how many chests are left, nothing, it is a headache. Now let's talk about Johnny Cage's mansion, and how it's only used for the tutorial, but it's the most unique and cool looking mesa to investigate, and I feel like it should be repurposed for a player hub. Now instead of coming here and doing fights like you normally would do, you come here and hang out with your room or party of friends, maybe only up to 8, but you could go up to the big screen TV, and instead of it playing the trailer, it could play a King of the Hill that's currently running with your friends. Or you could go to the training dojo section and just do some practice modes with your friends. Maybe even practice with talismans with your friends. Or then move over to the classic arcade section. And if we can see them, why can't we play them? You know what I'm saying? They've got friggin' Primal Rage, Rampage. They have Mortal Kombat 2 and I think 3 up in there as well. Like, if Street Fighter can do it, let us do it. Some of these people have never played these games. What a great way to get people to play the classics and play them together for the first time. It'd be super, super cool. Anyway, open up the arcade. Open up Johnny Cage's mansion. Let us use it as a player hub. Now let's take a look at my custom invasion mode, which is an AI battle meets tower defense. So every 12 hours, the enemy AI advances in the mesa towards your starting point to try to control all of the points of the regions. And those are represented with the nodes. Now the nodes would be just your basic AI fights where you pick 3 defenders and they go up against 3 attackers. And if you control a region, your defenders are stronger in that region from attacks. So I think it would be a good way to have players to come back to invasions, have something that feels like an invasion and is kind of an interactable experience. I actually went over this with Nickfamous over on their channel here, and I will link their channel in the description below somewhere. But we did talk for a good hour, and they broke it down to about 30 minutes, and it's filled with all kinds of good nuggets of what we think would make invasions better, and it really inspired me to push forward and make some more of these edits and do my own video here on this channel as well. So do give them a look after you've checked this out. Like the video if you liked it, share it if you want invasions to be better, comment down below if you've got your own ideas. Don't just say invasion blows or whatever, like, come on, man. Let's get get constructive here, all right? So anyway, thanks again. Y'all take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.